Hey everyone, Mr. Lynn here again. It is day 3 of our quarantine and our first actual day with no school. Today I wanted to talk to you about practicing. Your music teachers like to throw around that word out there, but I'm not sure if we do the best job explaining that to you. So I thought I would give you some pointers and tell you what I do when I practice. The best advice I have with practicing is to make sure you're doing it with purpose and method. Make sure you are not just going through the motions, and don't just practice the easy stuff, but also make sure you're playing things that you enjoy. So, just like I said yesterday, I recommend planning out your practicing sessions and having goals built in. When I practice, I always start with a warm up. As a wind musician, this means starting with simple long tones, focusing on all the basics of my sound production. I'm thinking about my air, about my mouthpiece placement, my intonation, all that kind of stuff. Next, I spend some time doing lip slurs, which all brass players should be familiar with. Uh, there are a few different schools of thought on lip slurs, but what I believe is that you should change your lip slurs up every few days to give a lot of variety. Next, I work on scales. Um, the way I work on my scales is I pick either one or two scales per day, and I really dig into them. I'll spend about 5 minutes doing those scales in as many different patterns as I can come up with. Woodwind players should probably spend more time with scales than I do, woodwind and string players. Now, with the warm up complete, I usually pick something out of a method book that I've never played before and I sight read it. I force myself to play it slowly and steadily with no stopping, no matter what. Sight reading's a really important skill and one that I don't think most of us focus hard enough on, so I make sure to make that a small part of my practicing every day. Next, I move into whatever I'm focusing on for the practice session. I will usually start by playing through the section and mentally taking note of what mistakes I make. Next, I'll focus down on where I made those mistakes. I'll play it slowly. I'll isolate just the rhythms. I'll isolate just the harmonies, the notes, and then I'll put it back together at a slow tempo and then build up the tempo slightly faster until I get it where I want it. Then I'll usually play through the section again. I make use of a lot of tools when I'm practicing. I keep a tuner and a metronome handy. Recently, I've been practicing with a drone. I'll do more on that in a future video. Especially when I'm working on a solo, I like to record myself with my cell phone and listen back to it. Oftentimes, I hear mistakes in a recording that I didn't realize I was doing. Or I may find that what I thought sounded good didn't work the way I thought it did. Lastly, I use a lot of recordings. It's super important as musicians to listen to others, especially when I'm working on some jazz. I like to pull up recordings, usually via YouTube, and give them a listen. In listening, I find out what others do that I like, and I try to incorporate it. Also, I can find things that I don't like, and I can try to avoid that. After focused practicing, I like to spend some time just playing for fun. Sometimes I play through a solo I played all the way back when I was in high school, or I like to just play stuff by ear, or I'll just pull up some blues backing tracks and just improvise for a while. This is just my little time to remind myself that music shouldn't just be work. It You should enjoy it. It is, after all, called playing an instrument. I like to put that play back into it. I know some brass players do a little cool down at the end of their practice sessions. I don't do this too much, but if you find that the next day after a long practice, it takes you a long time to warm up, you might want to consider it. I think a lot of people use long, low notes to cool down. I probably should do it more as well. Oh well. One important thing we all should do at the end of playing is take time to properly clean and put away your instrument. Brass players, make sure to empty out your spit before you put it away. Woodwinds, take a second to run that swab through. Reeds, take your reed off the mouthpiece. Strings, make sure to loosen your bow. You know what you're supposed to do when putting your instrument away. Don't skip out. They are important. All right, that's going to be it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you're enjoying your quarantine.